Hi, I'm Barry Sahajian, and today we're talking about a 2-5-1, but this time the 2-5-1 resolves to another 2-5-1 before it goes to the tonic, or the 1. And this is quite common, and some people look at it as a secondary dominant, which is simply a dominant of a dominant. Sometimes they put a 2-5 as opposed to just a dominant 7th, and that's what we're talking about today. I'm doing this in the key of F, which the 2-5 in F would be a G minor 7th to a C 7th to an F. So we're going to put another 2-5 before that initial 2-5 of G minor 7th, C 7th to F. That will be A minor 7th, D 7th. And it sounds like this. It extends it a little bit and gives you a lot more color. So that's what I did in the intro, and I'd like to discuss the line and what I did to make that work. There are many options for this in jazz and in other music too. It's used commonly as secondary dominant. So let's take a closer look at this line. Okay, we're starting up here. We're going to play an A minor, and we're simply going to play a 1, flat 3, 5, back to the flat 3. Very simple. Then we're going to go to the D7. We're going to start on the 3, which is an F sharp, and play something like this. Put them both together. A minor, D7th. Okay, so we've played A minor 7th to D 7th. Now we're going down to the next 2-5, which is going to lead us to the tonic, which would be a 2-5-1 of F. We're going to play 1, flat 3, 5, and then go up to the flat 7. That will be a G minor 7. When we get up there, we're going to descend from the E, which is the 3rd of the C 7th chord, and that would be technically a Mixolydian scale, going down a Mixolydian scale. And we'll put them both together now. Okay, we're winding up on the B flat, which is the flat 7 of the C chord, and we're right in line to play the 3rd of the F, the tonic chord. And we'll play the F like this. Right now, I'd like to show you a couple of examples, segments from the real book of a couple of very popular jazz tunes. I'm going to be using 2 songs from the real book. One is Bluessette, it's in 3/4, and the other one is Analyse, very popular jazz vehicles. What I did was I only focused on the sections of the tunes that had the secondary 2-5s. That way, the bass player that is looking at this can use these lines in any type of music, as opposed and as well as a bass player that wants to focus on learning jazz only. I also included on these 2 lines the walking version, so you can learn to walk. If you're not interested in soloing, you can learn to walk on these things and benefit them in a number of ways as well by walking through them. So here we go. So I'm going to break down Autumn Leaves to start out. It starts on an F sharp minor 7 flat 5. The arpeggio looks like this. But I'm not going to play all the notes in the arpeggio. I'm only going to play the root, the flat 7, and the flat 5 back to the flat 7 again. And then we're going to a B 7th with a flat 9. And that one, I'm playing all the notes in the arpeggio, adding a triplet, which is a nice touch. That would be major third, flat 9, root, flat 7, 5, and 3. So now we're going to play two consecutive 2/5s from here. And the first one is a E minor to A7, and the second one is a D minor to G7. They are only 2 beats apiece, so we don't have a whole lot of choice of what we can do out of the arpeggio. So we have to selectively use the notes, and we still want to make it sound creative. Here's what I'm doing on the E minor to A7. Okay, first 2 notes are the root and the flat 3 of the E minor 7. And the second 2 notes are simply an A, which is the root, and a fifth of the root. That would be the second arpeggio. I do something a little different here. It's a D minor 7 to a G7. Once again, we only have 2 notes for the D minor. I'm using, which would be the root and the fifth. And then on the G7th, I'm just playing a root and a third. It's a little bit of a stretch there, but in my opinion, that would be the easiest way to play it, even though it has a stretch. So I'll play them both together. Okay, we're on to Bluessette now, and I must point out that it's 3/4 time, so you once again have limited choices on arpeggios, as opposed to 4/4, where you have 4 beats. You can actually play a full 7th arpeggio, so it becomes a little more of a challenge, but let's deal with it. So what we have first is an A minor 7 flat 5. So I'm only going to play the root, the flat 3, and the flat 5. 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to play the D7th, and I'm only going to play the 1, the flat 7, and the 5. We put them both together. It sounds like this. Now we're on to G minor 7 to C7. I'm going to do something a little different here. I'm going to use an octave, and that would mean there would only be 2 notes, the root, the octave, and the flat 7. And right now we are right in line to play the E, which is the third of the C7th, and I'm going to play an arpeggio, 3, 1, 5. Sounds like this. Next is the F minor 7th to the B flat 7th, and once again I'm limiting the notes that I'm using. I'm going to use a 1, flat 3, and 5 for the F minor 7th. And I'm going to use, on a B flat, I'm going to use the root, the flat 7, and the fifth. Now we're on to the E flat major 7th, which will be the target point of our set of secondary 2/5s. We're starting right here on the 11th fret of the E string. We're hitting an E flat and then a fifth. And right after we hit that fifth, we're going to do a shift going to the third. And I'm doing that for a reason, so I can descend on the next line and I'll be in the position. So that would be E flat root, B flat fifth, then we go shift to the third, and we play down the E flat major 7 scale from. Before I end this tutorial, I'd like to add a footnote to the video, and the thing is, each and every one of these examples I gave you, measure by measure, can be used as a reference to learn the relationship of the line to the harmony, as well as to learn licks and to emulate. So don't think you have to learn the whole lick. Just one chord may give you a direction to be more creative, as well as information about harmony. Add it to your vocabulary of ideas. You're not limited to just learning the lick or playing jazz with it. That's all for this video. Thanks for stopping by. I hope that you got something out of it. I ask that you might subscribe, comment, hit the bell to be notified of videos yet to come. Until next time.